Hi everybody, I'm back again after my introductory video with my first of this week's videos, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about draining the swamp. That's what Donald Trump had promised us, right? Remember back during the campaign, that was he got, it was a great applause line. He was going to drain the swamp because there was so much corruption in Washington, and he was going to change things. He was going to clean things up. Well, I'm certainly happy that he's not my maid, because he hasn't really cleaned up things in Washington. I think he's made it a lot worse. Today we had a news item about Omarosa Manigault Newman, who was a friend of Trump's. She was on The Apprentice, and then when he was elected president, he gave her a position as director of communications or something like that in the White House, and she was fired earlier in the year. And as a follow-up to that firing, she had a book that she wanted to sell, and that's what she's been doing. And it made me start to think about all of the other folks that Donald Trump hired, and people who were in the cabinet, people who were confirmed by the Republican Senate, and those people, and a lot of them who are no longer there. I mean, I made a little list here of, you can go on Wikipedia actually, there's a Wikipedia entry for people who have left the White House, Donald Trump's White House. So it shows you this huge entry, and you can look there and see all the people who've left and why they left. And I'm just thinking of a few people who left in the last year. You know, big names like Steve Bannon. He was going to be the savior of Donald Trump and of the country. Mike Flynn, who was fired after 13 or 14 days as the National Security Advisor. Tom Price, who was the Secretary of Health and Human Services, who used so many commercial airlines that he spent hundreds of thousands of your dollars to fly first class. That was our Secretary of Health and Human Services. And of course, Scott Pruitt, that EAP administrator, who did everything he possibly could to make our water dirtier, our air dirtier, and our planet hotter. So that was the Environmental Protection Agency administrator, Scott Pruitt, who also spent thousands and thousands of your hard-earned dollars, tax dollars, to fly all over the place and to put a special cone of silence. Those of you who remember the old Get Smart television series, there was the cone of silence. Well, Scott Pruitt had a cone of silence built in his office because he had so many important things that he had to say. Ultimately, he resigned. A few of the other people were like Rob Porter, who was a White House secretary, who was accused of accused by some of his wives, his past wives, of beating them, of abuse. So there are a lot of other people that have left, and if you go to that Wikipedia entry, you're going to be able to see how many people have left this White House, either were fired by the president and his staff. Oh, by the way, the firing of Omarosa, I think, was really interesting, because she came out with a audio of her firing where Kelly, the chief of staff, fired her in the Situation Room, which is supposed to be one of the most secure spots in the White House. He fired her in the Situation Room, and she was able to take an audio tape of that firing out, and it's just been played all over the place. So that shows you a little bit about what this White House is like in the interior. I think that we're going to have more of this. I think we're going to have more people resigning. There are going to be more scandals. And I think all we have to do is keep on watching the news. I read today that there are more people have left this White House, been fired by Trump or resigned, than any of the last 5 presidents. So that goes all the way back to, I think, Jimmy Carter. So more people have left this White House than in previous administrations. So I don't know what you guys think about this cleaning the swamp or draining the swamp, but I think the filth and the muck is continuing to get deeper and deeper. What do you think? So post your comments, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some comments in my next video, so we'll just be able to, have a little dialogue back and forth where you post some comments and I'll comment back, as long as they're not crazy, you know. So I hope to see you in a couple of days.